Sorry, my phone ran out of space. I'm going to try to wrap this up really quick. So, basically, I got the strongest sense at that time that all this shit that I was worried about, every single thing that I was worried about, losing my job, losing my family even, losing my house, losing everything, that it really didn't matter. Because this life is, in a sense, this life is meaningless. Not that, in a sense it is. Not that it's completely meaningless, but it's okay if that happens, because there's something deeper that you can believe in. There's something, even when you, because you're going to die eventually anyway, right? You're going to lose all this shit anyway, right? Aren't you? Aren't you going to lose your house eventually when you die? You can't take your house with you. You're going to lose your wife anyway when you die. You're going to lose your kids anyway when you die. Like, nothing lasts forever. Nothing. And it was just an extremely peaceful feeling that came over me. I was like, yeah, you know, that's actually very true. I mean, it is, right? Everybody knows it. Whether you're religious or not, you know that. You know that you can't take any of this shit with you. So, what's the point in worrying about it now? Especially when there's nothing you can do about it. Like, if you're gonna lose everything, you're gonna lose it, whether you're trying to hang on to it or not. You know, if the universe says it's time for you to lose your job, or lose your car, or lose your house, or lose your kids because your number is up, you know, a tsunami's coming and you're gonna drown, and your number's up. You're gonna drown in a tsunami, or you're gonna die in a tornado, or whatever. You're gonna die crossing the street because you forgot to look both ways. This life is not everything. And I realized that, like, my biggest problem was I was living like this life was everything. Like, trying to hang on to something that you can't hang on to. You're trying to hang on to your wealth. You're trying to hang on to your relationships. With a tight fist, with a closed fist, you're trying to hang on to all that shit. When you can have that shit, you can have it, but you hold it with an open hand. And once you do that, it's a much more stress-free life. Let's just put it that way. It's a much more peaceful life, because you're going to lose it all anyway. So you might as well hold it with an open hand and say, you know, God, you either are going to take this from me now, or you're going to take it from me 50 years from now. But eventually you're going to take it from me. So I might as well stop trying to grab onto it and control everything. You know, I was a control freak. I had no patience for anything. I had no tolerance for anything. If something happened and it didn't go my way, I was a very difficult person to live with. My wife can attest to that. My kids can attest to that. I don't think you guys fully understand my temper. I'm embarrassed to tell you guys how bad my temper can be. Like, to the point of, like, throwing shit across the room, breaking shit, screaming at the top of my lungs. Why? Because a light bulb burnt out. Like, something stupid. I mean, you'd see me react to something, you'd think that I just lost my ass in the stock market. You'd think that my whole 401k just went to zero by the way I'm reacting. But no, it's just something stupid, you know? Like, I broke a guitar string or something. Fuck, goddamn, you know? Like, why would I overreact so much to stupid, trivial shit? Just because I was just... just led by rage, you know? And I can tell you that ever since I've been starting to live like this with my hand open, like my hand is open now. And every once in a while I feel myself starting to close it, and I say, no. I gotta open it back up. I gotta hold my possessions and my relationships and everything, all my money and everything. I have to hold it with an open hand. And I can tell you that my wife has noticed a complete change in me. I stopped fighting with my wife. I stopped trying to prove her wrong. I stopped trying to win every single time that she had something to say to me about this or that, or, you know, I just don't engage in arguments anymore. Like, I'm just, you know, if my wife wants me to stop doing something or start doing something, it's like I just feel like I have the power, I have the strength to just be like, okay, you know, not that I give into every tiny little thing she wants, but when I know she's right, she's right. You know, there's a little voice inside my head going, Shafe, you know she's right, when in fact she is right. And then before, when I couldn't admit that she was right, I wouldn't admit that she was right. But now she says something and I go, you know what, you're right. Now, I don't say she's right about everything, by the way. When I really feel like she's wrong, I tell her when I think she's wrong. But I no longer struggle, well, I don't want to say struggle, but I'm getting much, much, much better at, when I know that she's right, telling her that she's right. And just picking my battles much more carefully. I do a lot more work around the house now. My wife doesn't have to ask me to empty the dishwasher. My wife doesn't have to ask me to take the garbage out. My wife doesn't have to ask me to vacuum. I just do it. And then she wakes up and she's like, oh my God, did you vacuum? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, you emptied the dishwasher too? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, wow, thank you. You know? And now she's like a totally different person toward me. Like, she treats me much more respectfully. She's much more sweet to me. And, you know, I just feel like it's a situation where it's like I was too proud to do the things that I should have been doing. And I finally swallowed my pride and just started doing the shit that I should have been doing to begin with. And it's made a world of difference in my marriage. Like, the rough seas of my marriage have calmed down. You know, now we wake up next to each other and we tell each other that we love each other, and we, you know, I make her a cup of coffee instead of thinking about how much I can't stand her, or listening to her tell me how much she can't stand me. She just rolls over and calls me sweetheart, good morning, and rolls out of bed and does whatever. Like, it's like the rough seas have just calmed down to it's like a glass now. It's like, you know, not a ripple. It's like crazy. All this time I've been trying to control my wife, and like, if I just, you know, if I just yell at her a little bit louder, if I just am just more harsh with her this way, then that'll get her to shut the fuck up, or that'll get her to finally do what I need her to do. But what I didn't realize is that what I really needed to do was just back off and give her some space, number one, and number two, admit when she's right every once in a while, when she is right. And we're going to church now, and things are better. And my wife isn't 100% on board with the whole church thing. I got to be honest with you. She's not 100% on board with it. Like, I have to talk her into going to church. But I can tell you that my wife's attitude right now is like, I don't care like, I don't care what's making Shafe act better. Whatever it is, don't change it, because our marriage has never been better. So I don't care if he's a Scientologist. Whatever he's doing, it's working. So I want him to keep doing it. That's kind of where she is right now. And I'm basically like, if it ain't broken, I ain't going to fix it either. But it was broken before. So, there's that. And I'm working now. I'm basically working at a job that I used to work at before. And I'm making sufficient income. And I'm starting to pay myself back for all the savings that I went through. I racked up a shit ton of credit card debt because I was afraid to dip into my savings, certain portions of my savings. Paying that off. My life's getting back to normal now. But I didn't start on that track until I got right with God. So I don't care what you guys think. There ain't much you're going to do to convince me to go back to my old ways where I was miserable. So if you guys are disappointed in me now, then I guess you're just going to have to remain disappointed.